Well, most of the devastation is in South Lebanon along the borders with Israel. But as we have seen yesterday, the Israeli military has attacked uh, cities across the country, in the Bekaa Valley, in the north, in Mount Lebanon itself, not far from where I am. And this has been devastating. As your report has indicated, more than 500 people have been killed, but much more than the number of deaths and injuries. What you have now is a clear escalation of the conflict, which to me makes absolutely no sense, because Israel could have gotten what it wanted diplomatically, but for some reason, Benjamin Netanyahu, who talks the talk but never walks the walk, is determined to open another front in Lebanon, as if Gaza was not enough.
How damaging have these strikes been to Hezbollah, including the pager and radio bomb attacks that we saw that hit the group last week?
Well, obviously the damage has been significant. Hezbollah has lost a number of senior officers, leaders, and more important, military operatives, commanders, but also a lot of innocent people have been killed in the process, because obviously Hezbollah is within society itself. It's embedded within its community. Therefore, when one particular leader is attacked, or a group of leaders are attacked and killed in a building where the meeting is taking place, well, the building has also homes in which there are families, women, children, etc., all of whom are also casualties in this. There is a level of barbarism that is common, of course. It's nothing new. We have seen in Gaza for the past year or so, over 41,000 people killed. And it seems that now, as if the Hamas leadership has been decimated, which it has not, now the Israelis are trying to do the same thing in Lebanon with eliminating the senior leadership of Hezbollah. Good luck to them. I don't think it's going to happen.
And how is Hezbollah responding? What has its leader said?
Well, Hezbollah has been very clear about what it wants. It wants to remain an effective actor in this part of the world. It is, of course, a pawn in the hands of the Iranians who are manipulating Hezbollah. Hezbollah are not Boy Scouts. We all accept that. We all know this. And what they want is to make sure that they continue to have an effective political military presence in Lebanon. In fact, what Hezbollah wants is really to control Lebanon from top to bottom and turn it into its own image, if you would like. That's not going to happen anytime soon, but that's the objective. What they don't want to do is to stop the war as long as the confrontation in Gaza is continuing. And they've said this repeatedly. We will stop our assaults on Israel, which started on 8 October, the moment the Israelis end their campaign in Gaza. That's what they've said repeatedly. And Hassan Nasrallah repeated this a few days ago as well. I assume that now the fighting is going to go back and forth like a ping pong ball that's going to go back and forth between the two sides. The fear is that this will escalate more and more and involve other countries in the region. I hope that's not going to happen, but presumably that's the fear if the Iranians were to make an attempt to get involved in this process. I doubt that they will do this because the Iranians are not ready for a regional confrontation. But obviously, there are lots of things going on behind the scenes that we're not privy to. But that's what the Hezbollah role really is, to act as a voice of Iran in the Arab world. A bad voice, but nevertheless an effective voice.
How close do you think we are to an all-out war in the region?
Well, I hope that I'm absolutely wrong. I don't see an all-out war coming anytime soon because everybody will be the loser. An eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth essentially will have a neighborhood of blind people. So therefore, I hope that that's not going to happen. I think that what we were going to see in the next phase, and by that I mean a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, maybe more, is to have these kinds of back and forth assaults going on as long as the international community does not get involved and put pressure on both sides to stop effectively the conflict. if the international community, which is very shy when it comes to the Palestinians, the Lebanese, Arabs in general, if the international community does not get involved, we're going to see this gradually fester more and more and eventually have a real conflict on our hands. If the international community, whether it's the United States or European powers, have the wherewithal not to have an enlarged conflict in this part of the world, they better get involved, and soon.
What is your experience? You are in Mount Lebanon. Tell us, what has the impact been for you, or what effects have you felt from the fighting that has been going on in Lebanon?
Well, yesterday, it's been very tough, actually. Yesterday, all day long, airplanes flying over. I'm not in Beirut itself. I'm in Mount Lebanon, which is about 30 kilometers away. But nevertheless, you could see the airplanes flying over the place. More than anything else, I think that it's the tension that people feel. There is a lot of anxiety among people wherever you go out, whether it's you go to the supermarket, you go to church, you go to whatever you go. There is a lot of anxiety. People are afraid that this is going to get out of hand. And Lebanon, as a country that has experienced war and has paid a very heavy price, people here don't want another one. People here don't want more war, more destruction. They want to continue their lives, their productive lives, and have a society that is relatively peaceful as it can get. And I'm sure, as you know, and your viewers know, since 2019, the economy of this country has collapsed. And on top of which, now you have to deal with all these various crises that are unending. You can imagine the level of anxiety that exists among people. Stress is not even putting it mildly. Everybody is on Zantac and other drugs, and make sure that they have that they can go through the day in a peaceful way. But very tough.
Dr. Kechichian, really good to get your insights. Thanks so much for your time and talking to us.
My pleasure.